Hi guys, welcome back to the Yorkshire Modeller. We've got issue 51 of the Hachette Partworks Battleship Buismarck, and we're getting the next 38cm gun turret this time. So yeah, like I say, it's the second 38cm gun turret. Now this one is named Bruno on the actual ship, so they knew which one, if there was any repairs or anything like that needed doing, they would be able to repair them. So we've got exactly the same as we did with the first 38cm gun turret. We don't attach the actual parts in this issue, but what I am going to do, I'm going to point the camera down at the table. I'll show you what we get and what I've already changed or added to, so that it matches what we've got already. So here is all the parts that we get with this issue. Same as previous really. Last week we just got the motor, which I do actually need for this issue, so I'll bring that over. So yeah, we just got this last week, and then this week we get the full gun turret to build. I think these partwork companies do kind of spread it out a little bit too much. I did comment, someone commented on, I think it was the Bismarck video, the last Bismarck video, sorry, saying that they thought that it's kind of a bit of a rip-off, and I kind of agree, but obviously it's just because of how things work when you get these part works. Now you're probably wondering what these parts are. These are parts of the fingertips of a latex glove. So when I'm airbrushing, I always use a latex glove on the hand that I'm holding the part with, so I can actually airbrush properly. And I've got a massive box from just down here. What I've done is I've cut the ends, like the fingertips off, and I've put, I don't know whether you can actually see, there you go, that little nick just in the top there, just there. And what that'll be is, that's going to be the blast bag for the actual guns themselves. So I'll move those over there as well. So you can see I've already gone ahead and painted the top of the gun turret. What I use for this is some, I think this is like 10mm Tamiya tape, and just blocked it off, and then just some normal masking tape over the edge of that. This has had like 2 or 3 coats of Vallejo Air Ferrari Red, so we've got that one there. Just a couple of coats of that. Let each one dry, because the actual plastic itself is quite dark. It does go on quite dark anyway. I've not put any primer on that. I probably should have done, to be honest, but I didn't on the other one, and I wanted the colour to be as close a match as possible. But you can see it's come out looking quite good. Now I've also done the same thing with the gun barrels themselves. I've just painted these ones this morning. That was exactly the same thing. So where the kind of gun steps in, that's where I put the tape, wrapped it all around that, and then all the way down to the very ends of the barrels, and just basically sprayed them tops and all the way around as well. And all you do is just keep turning it with the airbrush on, and that way you get a nice even coverage over the entirety of the parts that we do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move over the parts that we don't need this week for these first stages, just off to the side, and we will get started with issue 51. First parts we need are the gun barrels themselves and the connector. So this one is 51.3. So instructions say place the connector 51.3 and the 2 barrels 51.9 on your work surface. Apply a little super glue to the peg on the end of one of the barrels as shown in the instructions. So, new glue pot. Let's pop a bit of glue on the end of there, and then wrap that around as we've done previously, and then pop that into there. Get rid of that bit of extra glue, and then just do the same thing with the other turret, and then pop that onto there as well. There we go. So that is the gun turrets all attached. Now what I'm going to do for this next bit, I'm just going to zoom the camera in a little bit, because we've got some more sort of mechanical stuff coming up. So I'll zoom the camera in and we'll get back to the next part. Right, so that's the gun barrel all built. Next part we need is the gun barrel assembly, which is this piece just here, like a character out of Star Trek. And put it flat so the surface is flat on your worktop. Slide the gun barrel assembly into the cradle. Oh, sorry, that's the cradle, not the gun barrel assembly. 51.5 from the rear is indicated by the arrow. So this one, you want the flat edge, or pretty much the flat edge of the gun barrel there, to go straight onto that flat edge, to go flat down on there. So that will just slot straight into there, like that. Like that. And push the gun barrels into the cradle as far as they will go. Place the clutch shaft 51.6, which is this one just here, and the ring onto your work surface. So clutch shaft and the ring just there. Fit the shaft of part 51.6 into the ring from the underside. So basically, inside the ring there's a little kind of cross, and that just needs to go in that way around. So the motorized part just there, which you can kind of make out if I just turn it there. You see how it's kind of in the light and then drops. So that's facing towards the actual shaft itself. Ensure the parts are aligned as shown in the picture, and place the tension spring on your work surface. So tension spring just here, place that down there. I'm just going to zoom this out a little bit now so we can see everything a little bit better. So compress the spring 51.10 and fit it between the cradle and the gun barrel connector. So this spring is going where that part there is, and that part there is going between those two. So hopefully this doesn't ping out and away. Nearly did then. I remember this bit when I was doing the first gun, and it annoyed the hell out of me. Let me get this into place. What it might be worth you doing is pushing the guns themselves, the turrets themselves back, and then popping the spring in there. Fit the shaft of part 51.6 through the central hole of the connector and through the tension spring, and then through the cradle. So, actually that's an easy way of doing it. If you pull the gun barrels back and attach the spring onto the shaft, and then line that up as you're pushing that in, like that. Hang on, let me line this up properly. There, like that. And then you can push that shaft through the hole that you need it to go through. There we are. So, if you put the spring onto the start again. If you put the spring in there, pull the gun barrels back, put the spring in the middle, and then push the shaft through the spring, and then so it goes through that hole as well, just there, it's not going to be as much pressure on the spring, so it's not going to ping away as easily. So that's that bit done. Now take 2 PB screws, so I'll just get those out of their little bag. So put the PB screws down there. So 2 PB screws. Fit the upper part of the motor housing. So let me just reattach this. There we go. Fit the upper part of the motor housing 50.4 on the base plate of the cradle. 51.5 is shown. So we take this part here and we fit it so that the little grooves just there are at the back of here. So that there should in theory be, there we are, so that clips into there. So the ring there fits into the widest part of this cradle part here. And then it just says turn the assembly over and fix the upper part of the motor housing with the base plate with the 2 PB screws. So that's just going through the 2 screw holes in the back. So there you've got your 2 screws in. I've not tightened them up all the way yet, but that's all put in, and the actual motor housing here has got that little groove just there that you can pop the parts into. Don't let that happen, because that is the part that is a absolute beggar to get back in. I'll sort that in a minute. So just tighten those up, and then we'll go on to the next step. Right, so now I've got all that screwed together, and I've got the shaft put back in there. That's going to keep falling out until we do this next part, which is just to attach the motor from the last issue. So if we put the gun barrels down on the worktop, turn the assembly over again and fit the motor 50.1, so that's this one that we did last week, into the upper part of the housing. Ensure that the cables from the circuit board are facing away from the base plate of the cradle as indicated below. By the arrow, sorry. So basically this cable, where we've got the wire coming up that way, that just needs to be coming up and straight out of here. And then that clips into there, like that. And push that forward. All the way forward? No, not all the way forward. So, that goes in there, and then we attach this part, which is with the motor fit, the lower part of the motor housing. So this is the lower part of the motor housing here, and fit it over the motor so that the screw holes align with those on the upper part of the motor housing 51.4. Fix the 2 parts of the motor housing together with 2 PB screws. So more PB screws. Now this should go with the little kind of ring bit there facing away from the turrets. So if we pop that on there like that, and then pop the screws in for this bit. So that's 1 screw in. That's the other one in. So I'll just tighten these up. And then it's fit the gun barrel assembly into the rotating gun housing. So that's the part that I did earlier on that I've painted the tops red for. Feed the barrels through the holes at the front of the housing. So that's in. We'll take this part here, and then we'll just, so like I say, bit with the red top, feed the guns through there, and then there's the little pegs so that will be able to swing like that. So make sure that's in there properly, and place that back down. And then it's taking, ensure that the pins on the sides of the cradle fit between the raised lugs on the inside of the gun turret, because that's what allows the actual gun itself to move up and down. Feed the cable through the base plate of the turret, which is this part just here, and fit the base plate over the upper part of the turret housing so that the screw holes are all aligned. Fix the base plate of the turret 51.2 into the turret housing with 6 PB screws indicated by the red lines in the picture, which are those 2 holes there, those 2 and those 2. But obviously it'll go on that way around, I think, won't it? Yeah, so it goes on. So this ring is facing up to us at the moment. So we'll get that attached. So it's not a massively difficult issue this week, but obviously it's nice just to get a few more parts than we've had in some of the previous issues. That one's in. It's nice to as well be doing some of the more technical stuff, you know, the gun turrets. That was what I really enjoyed on the first few issues of this, where we were doing the first gun turret and you know, the anchor chains and all that kind of thing. I enjoyed that because it was something a bit more technical, getting into it, you know. I think it was when we did issue 9, when we did either issue 9 or issue 15, I can't remember which one exactly, but when we were doing the motor housing for the anchor chains. And I remember getting really annoyed when I'd built it because nothing was moving properly, and off camera I had to take the whole thing apart and just rebuild it all, and it was one of the gears had slipped inside the gearbox, and that one at the time, that was probably the best performing video that I'd got on YouTube, because it was I've not been doing the videos all that long, probably, you know, like I say, it was either 8 or 14 weeks that I'd been uploading for. But I'd managed to overcome a problem, which, that's the thing I love about doing these videos, is even if you guys are ahead of me, or you've already built this model and you're just watching me do it, or, you know, you are actually watching me for help and support or anything like that, it's nice because it keeps me accountable for what I'm doing. It keeps me accountable for the actual build on this model, and it means that I'm not going to get sort of bored halfway through and stop building it. I've got 140 videos to make for you guys, so yeah, it keeps me accountable for what I'm doing. So yeah, that bit's all attached on the bottom there. You can see the gun moving nicely, and then obviously when it's on, it'll be moving up and down. So that's the assembly for the actual issue done. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you these two bits. Right, so that's the actual gun itself, all completed. Now, one of my gun barrels seems to be a bit lower than the other, so I'll have to do a little bit of jiggery pokery with that, just try and heat the plastic up a little bit and just try and get it level. I seem to remember I had the same problem with the other one as well, just had to heat the plastic up. Just bend it a little bit. That should be all right. So what I'll do now, I'll just quickly show you how I did the blast bag. So it's a really, really simple method. If you've got some of these latex gloves, cut the fingertip off, and then put just a little nick in the top of the actual fingertip. That's what the gun barrel's going to go through. Now, on the other one, I haven't glued it on, and I'm not going to do it with this one. So all you do is put it over the top. This looks so wrong, doesn't it? And then you just push the gun barrel through like that, and then slide that down so it covers the gun. And then I've just used, on the other gun, I've just used a pair of tweezers and just push the excess through into the hole. I need to get help from my dirty mind. So you just push that through into there, and then you do the same top and underneath. Move the gun up if you need to. Now it shouldn't affect the motion. It doesn't on the other one. And you might just need to slightly change how much of this material, like excess, you've got down towards the bottom of this bit just here. So I'm just going to cut a little bit more off, and I'll well, I've got a shorter one here, so I'll show you with this one. So it's exactly the same. Pop it through that little nick, and then just push that through there. You do want enough excess that when the gun moves, it's not going to kind of overspill and pull the latex glove out. So that's that. Now you might need to push some parts in at the top and kind of some parts in underneath. It's just trying to get the position right on the actual bag itself. There we go, that's better. So yeah, so that's one blast bag done. So, and the good thing with these latex gloves is you just get a normal pair of scissors and just nick a bit off. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Now I've got, for some reason, I don't know whether I meant to pick these ones, but they're slightly textured, so they look a little bit like leather, which is good because it obviously makes the blast bag, if you weather the blast bags as well, it makes them look just that little bit better. So what I'll do, I'll just finish popping this one in, and then I'll show you what it all looks like when it's done. Right, so that's what the gun will look like when everything's all attached. So you've got the blast bags on there, but because we've just pushed everything in, there's nothing stopping the gun from moving up and down. And then obviously when it's on the ship itself, it'll move side to side as well. So I'll pop that on the Bismarck, and I'll try and put up a couple of photos of where we are up to now on the Bismarck as well. So as you can see, we're ploughing on nicely now with this. Next week with issue 52, we just get the next port hull section. So just the next bit to go on there. So that'll be a nice quick video, and then we'll have been doing this beast for a year. Only another 2-ish to go. Just shy of 2 years, and this will all be done. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to the Yorkshire Modeller for more weekly model building geekiness. The Bismarck, hopefully now that we're back on track with the issues, apart from issue 45, will be up every Saturday. When 45 does come, I'll just upload that as and when I get a chance. As soon as I've got it all built, and I'll do the same with 47 because I'll try and do those two in one go. And then we've got every video up for the build. So until next time, guys, happy modelling.